How's it be? My name's Larney. You know, my FOC's friends of color tend to call me Jabu for whatever reason. But my given name is Jab. Jabulani in full.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Marimbas podcast.
Marimbas, because we're rhythmic, collaborative, and raw.
That's right, rhythmic, collaborative, and raw.
Just how you like it.
Bro, why do you always look at me when you say that? That's how you like it.
Yeah, I mean,
what are you trying to tell the people about me?
I don't know, man.
Trying to tell the people I like a raw or something?
It's a question. It's a question that I'm actually posing to you. It's not it's not a statement. It's just like, just how you like it?
Nah, that's not how you put it.
Damn.
It's more emphatic than that. It's like, that's how you like it.
That's how you like it. Oh, just how you like it, rather.
Yeah, because, I mean, dude, I do like it raw. I mean, people are going to interpret that in a way. Look how you trying to take a sip.
Yeah,
I'm just out the gutter, man.
You know what? I just want to let you speak. You know,
let me be me.
Dig your hole, dig your grave. I will happily be there. To bury you.
Well, thanks for the support, bro. I appreciate it. I mean, look, I like it raw, man. I like raw conversations.
Yeah.
I like it
candid
when it's I like it when
we're not hiding anything. Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, I think there'll always be something to hide.
Apparently so. We'll find out in this episode. We'll find out.
Do you think so?
I mean, it's a pretty packed episode, you know. Highly applicable to who we are as individuals and who we are in the world that we live in. So if anything, I think we're going to get some good stories out of you. If anything, I think we're going to get some juicy things out, man.
Wait, what about good stories out of you? I was trying to milk you. I was trying to put something on somebody.
I mean, if you're interested,
this guy's a
if
sneaky,
you're interested,
he's a sneaky guy. He's slick.
But yeah, man,
how's your week been, bro?
How's my week been? Woo! It's been a jam-packed week. You know, it's been crazy. It's been back and forth, you know, trying to like slice my way through like life, adulting, work, trying to balance that with doing this, you know. It's been nuts.
Do you reckon this has been a spanner in the works?
It's been a spanner in the works, but it's a great place to get away to.
I think so.
Yeah, because it's like during the week, you have all these things contained within you. Yeah. And then when we finally get to the point where we get to shoot and we just link up, it's just like, yo, this has been in my mind, bruv. Like, I want you to know about this, you know? Yeah. So I think it's always good to just get to a point of the week where we link up and shoot and get things out of our chest. So
what, you have a lot on your chest, yeah?
I have a lot on my chest, bro. I always have a lot on my chest, though. You know this, bro. I'm Mr. Sentimental himself, bro. Like, any opportunity that I get to speak about my feelings, yo, let me have it. I don't know about you. Do you have a lot on the chest?
I do. Okay. But back to you. When it comes to things on your chest, like when you say whenever you have a chance to express and be sentimental about stuff, I believe that's what you just said, right?
Yeah.
Is that in any way in correlation to your skin pigmentation?
Bullshit. I don't agree.
Seriously. I thought you were coming at me with some real stuff. Now you're just
look. That's as real as it gets, man.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Do you like sharing?
Possibly.
Is it like a thing?
I mean, maybe society allows it for light-skinned niggas to be more expressive, you know,
and more in touch with their emotional side.
Yeah,
which is allowed.
It's allowed,
you know?
But I feel like we should all be striving for that.
I believe so too.
Yeah,
I mean that's what we kind of left the last conversation with.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, excuse Mr. Ego and his 2 kobo. He's a character. You know, we Ego, Mr. Alta Igo.
Address him accordingly.
We accommodate him. He's an interesting fella. But yeah, I mean, people are allowed to be themselves.
Yeah,
and people are allowed to share the things that you know hit them hard. if you have certain things on your mind, it doesn't mean you have to sort of color it in a certain way to get it out. You can get it out in whichever colors it comes out in, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
As emotional as you want to be.
Does that come naturally to you? Do you have to take a little step back and in terms of and then identify who you are in society and to what degree you can be expressive about your emotions? And when I say who you are, I mean the obvious, like a guy, a man. Are you a man? I don't know. A man.
No, first of all, don't ever question my man.
Definitely not on this show, right? Not on this forum. No, behind the camera, we can.
Yeah, well, that's indicative of what you're just asking, because here we are putting something out into the public, and we're sharing it and putting it in the colors that we deem fit, and you're basically saying it's a different color behind the scene than in front of the camera.
Yeah.
And is that indicative of the kind of people or the kind of men we portray ourselves to be in public or in society? Because there's a thing of men not being as emotional as they are, regardless of, your skin type or whatever. There's a thing of guys not being as emotional as they are because society doesn't really allow for guys to be emotional. But things may or may not be changing with you or with society.
Yeah, no, I definitely think there is some truth in terms of what we're willing to show to, more than a handful of people or to masses, as opposed to like what you and I could potentially be discussing behind the camera.
Yeah.
I don't know. Manhood, masculinity, that's a very packed conversation, you know. And at the very least, I think before we can come before a lot of people, we should be able to articulate it ourselves, you know. And that's why maybe I'd feel safer discussing it with you one-on-one prior to maybe just openly discussing it with everyone, because it's like a vulnerable space.
You don't want to be short-sighted.
You don't want to be short-sighted, but at the same time, you want to know what you're about, you know? I don't want to, you don't want to be put in a position where it's time to speak, and it's time to be reflective of what you embody and represent as a man.
Yeah.
Only for you to realize that, damn, this is much more abstract than I thought. Like, I actually don't know what goes into making me a man or why I identify as a man, So I definitely think, it must become a norm that we discuss these things amongst ourselves more.
Yeah.
For it to kind of translate to the effect that we would like for it to, for you to kind of live out the truest form of what a man embodies,
Okay, so does that mean you've figured that out behind the scenes and are now ready in front of our viewers to disclose what you deem manhood to be?
No, man. I think, I mean, as much as I say, like, you could go through the process of preparing for it, I don't think you're ever ready, but I'm at least at a point where I'm comfortable enough to start having that conversation in front of like a lot of people.
Yeah. So what's manhood to you, bro?
Manhood for me boils down to how many sealers you can pull. It takes me back to my rugby days. I was playing center, and I remember all the sideline chicks. They used to look at me like I was a bag of gold. And that's what gives me my pride. That's what gives me my manhood, bro.
Jeez, man. You just had to...
Is it the state of transitioning from a child to a man?
I mean, if we're going to go textbook on this, then sure. Like when I'm no longer a child, I'm a man,
Obviously, it's a lot more colorful than that.
Yeah, it's a lot more colorful than that. And I'd like to think it's also very, very much abstract.
Yeah.
I think it's easy for us to think from a collective perspective, from a very rigid social construct of what manhood is. But I think it's something very, very personal. At least I'm starting to realize that, when I was still, journeying through figuring what it was, I used to turn outwardly a lot to kind of establish where I stand. Whereas now I realize that it's more of an exercise of turning inwardly,
I believe that.
Yeah, it's more of an exercise of turning inwardly and realizing what is important to you, and how important it is for you to relay it in a certain manner that is truest to yourself.
I feel like definitions are so abstract, depending on where you're coming from, what you believe in.
Yeah.
And I mean, defining manhood isn't an exception to that.
Yeah.
People define manhood or being a man in many different ways. Some might attribute it to financial well-being.
Yeah.
Or being able to financially take care of your partner and look after your lover or your kids or your family. Okay, so I'm able to pay my kids' school fees. I'm a man.
Yeah.
Others might say, okay, I'm able to satisfy my woman in bed. I'm a man.
I'm a man.
And others might just attribute it to age. And say, okay, so you've come of age. You're an 18-year-old. You're a man.
That's your rite of passage.
Figure it out.
You should know what to do now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You should, or at least, be convicted enough to go about your inhibitions.
Yeah.
As, us men are in society.
Yeah.
So there's a huge and, very wide spectrum of definitions.
Yeah.
But for me, I feel like what is more important when it comes to defining a man and how I define myself as a man is being secure. Being confident.
Yeah.
Secure
in what sense? Secure in a social sense? Secure in financial sense? What kind of security are you referring to?
I would say secure in a social sense first.
Yeah.
And then financial sense second. But it's you smile because people might just attribute, okay, how could you
feel socially secure if you're not
financially secure, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like it's definitely deeper than that, because remember we were talking about how money, as important as it is very much an external factor.
Yeah.
And as we move along nowadays, we have to look inward.
Yeah.
In moving forward.
Yeah.
And finding those answers. So when it comes to security and being secure, I'm definitely talking about in society. And I'm thinking of that in terms of the men who aren't financially free.
Yeah.
That I personally won't, say aren't men because of their financial position.
Yeah.
I'm going to say a man is a man because, firstly, of his age.
Sure.
For me.
Yeah.
And then also how secure he is in society. How secure is he in his disposition, in his position when it comes to standpoints? And
so are you suggesting that security is closely tied to your age as well? Because I've seen people who are very confident in who they are at a very young age.
Yeah.
As young as 17.
Yeah.
My brother's prime example. I feel like my brother knows what he's about and what he represents. And I don't know, if I were to have a conversation with him to ask him whether he's a man, he may say, hell yeah, I'm a man, But from my perspective, he's still a young lad, dude. He's still a boy, you know what I'm saying?
Why is he a boy in your eyes?
I mean, for a lot of reasons, I think maybe he's not yet at a place where he can take accountability for certain things.
Okay.
And also I think he's unpacking a lot of things. I think, late teen years are when, you're shaking a lot of things off regarding how you're shaping how you're shaping yourself, you know, and maybe a little bit of inhibitions that you used to have in maybe like your earlier years, you know. So I definitely think he's not at a point where he's, you know, he's advanced in that.
I mean,
you know,
it's fair to say he may not have figured himself out yet, and that's fine.
It's still a journey.
And the funny thing is, age isn't a determining factor of figuring yourself out.
Yeah,
because I did say age being a factor in how I define manhood, but
a metric. Yeah,
I mean, thinking about it, it might not be the case. I mean, legally, yes.
Yeah,
but it's deeper than that.
Yeah.
You see, when it comes to manhood and being a man, it's very simple. What you have to understand is a man should be dominant. No two ways about it. If you're not dominant, you're not a man. So, when you're in your house, you are the head honcho. But don't let your sweetie pie do you like sawiti.
What I will say, though, is I do agree with you in terms of being more just a sense of security.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, you can't go around just being like intimidated by everybody or, you know, made to feel inferior by, you know, I don't think that's befitting for how I want to define myself as a man. Or a man.
Yeah.
Like we said, it's multicolored. So, you know, somebody else could have a whole nother way of going or thinking about it. But I definitely think security is a major, major factor. And the kind of person I am, that is tied to financial security. Yeah. But it isn't made exclusive by financial security. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the kind of person I am, you know, I definitely see the importance, of course, in financial security. But it's not rooted in that, in my opinion.
So, okay. So if we run with that, then let's say it's rooted in security in a very general sense.
Yeah.
Then what would you say are the actions that follow up thereafter in terms of acting as a man?
Yeah.
Like, what for you? What is that? You know?
Okay. So when it comes to that, it's a matter of, okay, I'm secure in myself as a man. I'm confident. But I'm also open in being refined. Possibly by, why are you smiling, bro?
Yeah, I just...
Was that a keyword for you?
Refinement. Yeah, it just reminds me of something that I did read about. I don't know if I should pull it out. Yeah, let me...
Okay, while you do that. So I'm open to refinement.
Yeah.
And that refinement can come from multiple sources.
Okay.
I'm secure in that, okay,
there we go.
There's definitely room for improvement, as there is for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But when I say I'm open to refinement, it could come from a brother. It could come from an uncle. It could come from a father. It could come from a woman.
Yeah.
And I'm not easily intimidated by a powerful and strong woman.
Yeah.
Because most times those powerful and strong women are the ones who are going to refine your ass.
Who really shape the direction in which your life is going in, right?
Facts.
No, you're preaching, man.
Honestly, because we should never underrate the strength of a woman. The strength of a woman. She put a smile upon your face.
You just want to use this opportunity to just belt out.
I can sing a little.
So I wanted to, when you mentioned refinement, that just kind of immediately sparked a light regarding something that I read in a Reddit blog, or a Reddit thread.
Sure.
So it basically goes something like this: male energy and sexuality are not naturally defined or refined, rather. Right? They must be harnessed and channeled in a direction beneficial for society. Gentlemen don't just happen. What's your take on that? Because for me, reading this is suggestive that the natural disposition of a man is I'm not trying. I don't want to say anything that's very incriminating, but
say it with your chest.
The natural disposition of a man is maybe rather
primitive. He's saying we're caveman.
We're degenerates.
Naturally, as men, as males.
Yeah.
You must be able to satisfy your woman or women. If you can't do that, you're not a man.
And then, so you open up this conversation about refinement and stuff, and it makes me really, really think about like the weight of the statement, and if that's really true, you know. If I didn't have specific people in my life, specific women in my life to sharpen me, would I be who I am today? Would you be who you are today? You know, or would we have gone off the rails? You know, because it suggests that left to our own devices. Yo, man,
run amok out here.
Ah, goddamn, we're off the track. So, I don't know. Tell me a little bit about that. What's your take on that?
I think it's natural, bro. Like, I mean, no man is an island, right? There isn't anybody who will attribute his or her success, but since we're talking about men here, his success as a man to one thing. You can't attribute it to one thing. So it's a mixture of a lot of different things. It's like a gumbo of influence.
Oh, yeah.
And I would say the sauce there has to be women. But you know what? I keep on revising that. Because when I say the sauce, I'm almost putting them or measuring them as the most important source of influence.
Yeah.
And that might not be the case.
Yeah.
Because I've equally said it's a mixture. So you can't degrade the power of a man in a boy's life.
Yeah.
In raising that boy to become a responsible man.
Yeah.
So I can't measure them. I can't just grade them and say women first, men first.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Society first. But it takes a village, right?
Yeah.
So definitely gentlemen don't happen overnight. Because if we were left to our own devices, we'd be running amok out here.
Yeah.
We need structure. We need discipline. We need good influence. We need, good influences.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Would you say women are more, would you say women's dispositions are to, their better understanding of themselves and their identity and who they are in the bigger scheme of things in society. And therefore that's why, their role is so fundamental in
Bro, I've always believed
leading and directing.
Yeah, I've always believed like there's a special grace on women, man.
Yeah.
Women have something special on them.
He's right,
Although
can you articulate what it is? Can you?
I think it's just virtue. It's grace.
Yes.
It's just ability. It's maturity. They're just better developed. They're
Emotional
more in tune.
Yes. It's funny that we said at the same time, tuned and emotional intelligence. Yo,
they're aligned.
That's a big one.
They're aligned. They're givers of life.
Yeah.
And through proxy, biblically speaking, whoever finds a wife finds a good thing.
Yeah.
They are made to refine us as men. But
because they do harbor life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They develop they develop life, and they give birth to life. They give life. But the onus isn't on them only. But they definitely, I would say, have a very important role to play. Behind every powerful man or a successful man is a badass woman.
Yeah.
So I always watch it. I always watch, so I would watch, people who are in positions of power.
Yeah.
But then I'm looking at their women.
In what sense? Yo, hey.
I mean, look.
Hey,
look.
slow down.
No,
man.
look, I'm just taking notes, man. I'm just taking notes, man.
Right.
Come on. I mean.
And is that kind of like a reference point as to what kind of women you would be looking for there.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, the kind of man I want to be is definitely indicative of the woman I'm going to choose to be my wife. Or who's going to choose me?
Who's going to choose me? Yeah, man. Hey, it goes both ways. Yeah, it's
like nowadays, right? Like, she's going to see me off in the corner, like, okay, so he's going to be my husband. Baby daddy, I think we can work together.
Apparently, it's so...
Pause, because isolated, that audio sounds crazy. I'm talking in the sense of, from the perspective of a woman.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So, yeah, the way I see myself, I'm going to definitely look for a woman with a certain quality set. As
that
she
can
will
edify you.
Me, exactly.
Yeah.
So she's going to want to be edified. I also want to be edified. So it just goes to, okay, so how are we going to shape it up? But that's also indicative of the kind of environment I've grown up in.
I was about to say, man, because you did mention that it goes both ways. There's a bit of a balance in terms of like the upbringing of a man. You can diminish the value of a more mature man in a young boy's life and a woman in a young boy's life, right?
Yeah.
But you were saying it's indicative of your upbringing. So, in terms of from a paternal perspective, do you think you've been given the right tools and been shown the ropes by your father, by fatherly figures, by uncles in your life, such that you possess that ability to kind of discern
that's deep, bro.
that this woman is going to edify me, as opposed to looking at her from a very societal, superficial point of view, only for you to turn around and realize, God damn it, like.
I mean, look, let's not get it twisted. There's going to be a level of vanity. Always. We can't avoid that. Look, let's just keep it
Not
real.
on dating apps, right? Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe the app is a dating app.
Shall we expand on that? But from an influence point of view, personally speaking, there's always room for improvement, and hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to crucify my influences for their weaknesses or inability to show me or give me certain pieces of information and give me visions of certain pathways, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because there's a whole thing of maybe holding or a bit of resentment to the people that we've come up under.
Yeah.
Because as you've grown up, you've seen things differently.
Yeah. And maybe your expectations, you maybe had hindsight, you realize that.
Hindsight, 2020, like maybe they should have done things a certain way.
Yeah.
But
I get that.
It can be quite unfair to do that, because you have to understand that in as much as you've come up and seen ways things could have been improved, you also can appreciate their humanity. Yeah. And that comes with weakness. Nobody's perfect, but you can make things better than you came up. And that could be a measurement of how somebody sees himself as a man. Yeah. In saying, okay, so I'm developing myself so that my offspring don't have to go through the things I went through, the same mistakes that my people or my parents or my father took me through. You understand what I'm saying?
I get that. And I guess from a continuity perspective as well, there's a point in time where your parents as well hand over the baton to you, and where that's kind of like the beginning of your journey to take charge of whatever they've kind of...
And you know what? Put in place for you, that set as a foundation, because ideally it was supposed to move up, right? So their parents set a foundation, and hopefully we're not carrying forward curses to our people, to our kids. To our kids, right? But we can't just negate the fact that there's always room for improvement. And some people might actually attribute manhood to having kids of your own, and saying you're not a man until you have a kid of your own.
You know how to care for another human like that.
So that's another color to the whole spectrum of things. Some people might say, okay, look, I'm 18 years old. I'm a man.
Yeah.
Some might say, okay, look, I can do right by my woman in bed, in life. I'm,
you've been bringing that up a lot.
I just did it twice.
Okay.
You didn't highlight me saying age twice. You're using my words against
some
me.
things stand out more than others. You know
where your mind's at.
But I'll let you run with it.
I'm just painting the picture. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there are different, attributes that people, place value in manhood, and having kids of your own is another thing, because some might say, look, you might be 40 years old, you don't know anything about being a man until you have somebody to take care of.
Yeah.
Some people might say, look, you're busy running around in these streets, you're pleasing all the women out here.
Yeah.
So you think you're a man? Try hold down a woman for 10 years.
Try hold down a single woman for 10 years.
Oh, damn. What do you mean a single woman?
I mean, no, because you were alluding to this man.
Like a one woman.
Yeah, one woman. Yeah,
right. The way the way I interpreted that, I was like, okay, a single woman. Okay, so would it be easier to hold down a woman who's also in the streets? A married woman?
Married woman. No, it was in it's in the context of a man trying to
one woman
pursue multiple women.
Because on the other side of that coin, people might say, okay, look, you're not a man until you can hold down multiple women. Yeah. That's when you get polygamy into the picture and say, look, you only have one wife?
Yeah. And that's very contextual, right? It depends on, like you say, where you come up and
it's real.
Yeah, and it's real.
So there isn't one definition to being a man.
I get you.
There isn't one. So we definitely do still, in as much as those could be very varying aspects of definitions. One thing that can hold true, and that I think we are leaning towards, is that introspection.
Introspection
and security in your definition as a man.
Yeah.
Surely we can't go around killing people because of their opinions.
Yeah.
A dude over there, or somebody watching could say, look, I can hold down and maintain 5 girls at a time.
Yeah.
And that's what makes me a man.
Yeah.
I don't agree to that.
Yeah.
I don't subscribe to that notion.
Just setting the record straight, right?
Look, we gotta make things known in 2021, man. Things are always
the other people on the other side of the camera who may be viewing this, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And not just to cater to them or appease them. Yeah. That's what my viewpoint is.
Okay, that's your stance on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't care about anything else these guys are saying. Doesn't make sense. Want to speak about inner reflection, whatnot. No, that's not how it works, bro. Manhood is the number of Sheilas you can pull.
So we can't go around killing people for their opinions. What needs to be true in all of us, despite our varying opinions, is the security we have in those opinions.
Yeah, because of course, like we come...
the openness to being refined, and to refining those opinions.
Yeah, I definitely think that's very fundamental, because we need to get to a point where we acknowledge that men come in all different forms.
Hell yeah!
Like you were saying earlier, whether you have
some are more emotional than others. Which I rate you on that. Exactly. I actually rate that.
Yeah,
because I feel like I may not have been. Okay, let's deep dive here, man.
We're gonna deep dive.
Let me give you some of my self,
because we've been going back and forth for some time. Like, there's been times where I've turned to you and I've been like, "Yo, man, like I'm struggling with this."
Yeah,
and, and there's been times where you come through to me as well. And
I sort of attribute my openness in part to you.
Yeah,
because we go back.
Yeah.
And
back before we were men,
when
we were still young lighties,
where this guy was a cheeky light skin.
Guy
was a cheeky guy, man. So back in the day, primary school days, so there's been some sort of evolution, of course,
and
I attribute some of the latter years of my evolution in terms of being more emotional and being more open to having conversation with you, bro.
Yeah.
Honestly speaking, because dude is quite in touch with his emotions.
You know, I appreciate you just saying that because, you know, it's never been for, you know, I've never done it for someone's benefit or for people to perceive me in a certain way. But,
yeah,
you know, like it's just the environment that I've been in, you know, that's allowed for me, you know, to maybe be more sentimental and more sensitive to how I'm feeling internally, you know?
What, I mean, okay, fine. You don't have to get into like detail, but what's that environment? Because I could say part of my environment in being more open with my thoughts and things that I'm going through is because of hanging out with you.
Yeah.
But then who are you hanging out?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just going to go way back in terms of the dynamic within my family. You know, my father is not a very vocal individual, you know, but he had a statement that he used to make, which was copy my good styles, you know, but he never used to provide context on that, you know, which kind of allowed me to forge a relationship, you know, a more intimate relationship with my mother, you know, to kind of understand and get to the crux and the roots of what exactly he means by copy my good styles, you know. And I think just, you know, drawing closer to my mother has just allowed me to kind of be more vulnerable, you know. It's just allowed me to open up more, you know. And I definitely think that kind of stemmed from that.
Yeah.
The feeling that she gave me was that it was okay to carry out these emotions even outside of like the comfort and the walls of our home, you know.
Yeah.
And the more I did it with like my male friends, you know, my female friends, the more it became a part of me, you know. And I guess like this is the point where I'm at, where I, you know, I don't feel like it's ever a conversation unless we've taken a deep dive, you know, unless we've taken a deep dive in terms of like what's happening internally.
Yeah. And, you know, for me, I'll say two things on that. Yeah. But for me, when it comes to, it's not a conversation unless we've taken a deep dive.
Yeah.
For the most part, it was me receiving.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll just say I'm used to people opening up to me. And it's not such that I'm fishing for this, but they just feel comfortable in doing that.
Chatting to you,
yeah. And
you're a nice guy, man.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
Which takes me to my second point. So I was just sort of receiving that information and holding that, and then maybe just, you know, putting in my 2 cents when and wherever. But then the second thing I want to say is you mentioned something very fundamental, in that your dad doesn't open up much.
Yeah.
And that's not exclusive to you by any means.
Yeah.
That's a common trait.
It's a lot of fathers, yeah.
So what's that about, man?
I don't know. Dads speak in action, man. They just speak in action. Like, you know, and I think it's also indicative of males, you know?
Exactly.
Because women will fight with their words, and men, you know, it's always action. It's like always...
Yeah. Because when you said I'm a nice guy, I mean, which I am. I'm not gonna, you know, it's true.
Yeah, go.
It's 2021. We have to be self-aware.
Okay.
but saying that and normalizing that kind of thing.
Yeah.
We should normalize that kind of thing. Is what I'm saying. Because for the most part, men haven't had an outlet to express themselves emotionally and normalize that kind of thing.
Yeah.
As with women who are, you know, as we already, you know, determined, are much more progressed and mature and evolved than us.
Yeah.
Normalize that kind of thing.
Definitely.
In their little girl groups and, you know, to their friends, to their mother, they really open up, and guys don't do that.
Yeah.
And it could just be a matter of, you know, carrying forward toxic masculinity traits from the past.
I was about to say, yes, it's definitely like an aspect of that as well.
So we got to watch that, and we need to resolve that.
Yeah.
Not only within ourselves, but with each other and with people. Because, look, part of figuring out this whole thing, this whole manhood thing, or being an individual, is
being able to identify.
Exactly.
And articulate the aspects of yourself that you need to
Yes,
to be more vocal and vulnerable
to
about.
share. Exactly. So we definitely need to normalize guys having groups, or just normalizing not being this whole traditionally constructed image of what a strong man is, where they don't deep dive, or they don't share their anxieties or their fears or their
So how far
weaknesses.
back do we have these conversations though? Like, with what generation? Is it just exclusive to like your generation and everything after, or do we attempt to have discourse with our fathers? Do we attempt to have discourse with our grandfathers? I feel like how do we detangle this?
I feel like millennials have the opportunity to break generational curses. Can I get an amen?
Amen. Hallelujah.
Because we see
generational
different
curses.
We see it's a big thing.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. We see so many sides. We see the side of the boomers, and then we see the side of Generation Z, which are much more inclined to be more introspective. Yeah, because that's just a attribute of human progression and how we're moving around about things. But
I mean, they also coming up in an age of expression. Like, there's so many ways, whether that's through platforms or like whatever it may be, of actually being expressive and putting yourself out there, you know, creatively, like in so many different aspects of that. Yeah.
So all generations are like, we're going to grow up and we're going to see how things weren't quite right coming up.
Yeah.
So it's, cometh the hour, cometh the man.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a matter of how do you want to put things right as per how you see them. Whether it's having difficult conversations with your people. Yeah. People who may have missed a step.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a deep one, man.
It is. And
that's a deep
maybe that could be another color to to defining you as a man.
Definitely.
Putting things right, addressing
your willingness
elephants
to
in the
actually
room.
Go back to that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
because if anything, that's what cuts the deepest,
Yeah.
When you go to the source of, I don't want to say the problem, but when you go to the source of where certain things may have been born out of,
Exactly. Because when you say born out of, there are definitely traits that we've carried forward.
Yeah.
Whether, knowingly or unknowingly.
Yeah.
By virtue of looking or observing how our fathers or male figures go about their business.
He did say, follow my good styles, but it's sometimes it's very blurred as to what are good styles if it's left to you to kind of discern,
Yeah. But ultimately there are things that are going to be upon us to figure out. And there are things that are going to be upon our kids to figure out.
Yeah.
I think the key is to maybe have them start a little bit further on.
Yeah.
So that the things they're figuring out are revolutionary.
So you don't think what we're currently unpacking has revolutionary effects?
Of course it does, but then we don't want our kids to unpack the same things we did.
I guess I get what you mean.
So for them, I have a vision.
It needs to be next level, progressive, like
next level.
Yeah.
Like, we're not talking about miscommunication.
Okay.
And that's a risk that is always taken when it comes to parenting, because raising a boy is so difficult.
It's not child's play.
It's not beans, bro.
Yeah.
It's not beans. It's not beans. So we can't crucify our people for their mishaps. Because more likely than not, we're gonna have mishaps.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen it.
But
we've seen it unfold.
Wait, what are you saying, bro?
I mean, we don't have to get into the details of everything, but you know it, I know it. We have DMCs about like certain things, and we're just like, we wish that never. We wish we were never in those shoes. We wish we never experienced those things that we did.
And I think it's also a matter of how we address the things that we know we are wrong in.
Yeah.
sometimes, owning and atonement. I think these are things that make you a man, really, because
atonement is an important one.
Let's not completely fall victim and surrender to our weaknesses.
Yes.
Let's confront those weaknesses. Let's try to put things right. Let's try to hold ourselves and be open. Like I said, how I deem myself to be a man and what I define manhood to be is being open to refinement. So let's open ourselves up to refinement in challenging our mishaps. You know what I mean? Live.
Yeah.
So you have a kid and you may have not done a parenting thing correctly.
Yeah.
And you're now a more evolved person in your wherever your fatherhood years are.
Yeah.
And you say to yourself, okay, so I'm not going to let this breathe. I'm going to suffocate that weakness and correct myself openly.
Yeah.
Because there's a thing I believe in the new generation of just being woke to certain things.
Right.
Like they are aware. They're aware.
Yeah.
Like the new generation is aware, just as we are aware.
Yeah.
You know,
of certain things.
Yes.
But to a certain degree as well, you know.
Yes. So confronting those things and, you know, I think maybe being more human at an earlier age when it comes to parenting, which is another conversation. I think we could probably tackle parenting in another
conversation. Yeah.
But when it comes to manhood, I feel like those are things that we can apply.
Yeah.
You know, now in fixing our traumas.
Yeah.
In fixing the things that our miseducations.
Yeah.
Now and then also in the future.
Yeah.
We could fix things now and in the future.
Yeah. That's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, man.
I guess what we agree to then is that manhood is not like one size fits all, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you've spoken about openness and your potential to be refined.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of given me a perspective in terms of my own vulnerability, you know, and I realized that that's an aspect of my manhood and that's an aspect of my life that I own, you know, and I'm very forthcoming about because I feel like it's fundamental.
You're very forthcoming, bro.
It's very fundamental in terms of,
That's quite, Do you don't have trust issues, do you?
I mean, who doesn't have trust issues, bro? If you're wearing your heart on your sleeves, you bet your ass you're gonna have trust issues. You know?
Really?
Yeah, because you're leaving yourself very open to anything. Whether that's
I would say not wearing your heart on your sleeve and being more withheld about your information is indicative of trust issues.
I mean, it depends.
On who you're talking to.
And what they use that information for. You know?
Dude.
I mean, yeah.
I, for one, am not as open to people as the next man.
Yeah.
And that's for a lot of different reasons. Yeah. I mean, people do a lot of creative things with information.
Why do I feel like you're speaking in the spiritual realm about this?
I have a thing of speaking in parables, man. I'm
creative things with the information that they have.
Dude,
right?
They do a lot of. People are mad. It's a mad dog show.
Oh, that's funny. That is funny.
It's mad out here, but I'm appreciative of the fact that you can trust me with some information.
Yeah.
Which I feel like, as I've said, men should normalize.
We sharpen each other, man. I guess.
Yes.
I guess that's the point of it all. You know?
Yeah.
If we get to a point where we're having conversations like this, and you recognize certain traits in me that you may not possess, and I recognize certain aspects of your character that I desire to be more like.
Yeah.
You know? I definitely think that's kind of the progression that or the direction at least we want to move in terms of
definitely,
you know, getting to a self-actualized place of understanding manhood.
Yes.
You know, the man within ourselves.
Yeah. It's true. So we can't avoid and neglect that. It's very important moving forward.
Yeah.
So we can't degrade the influence and the power of sharing that and being refined by our brothers.
Yeah.
And fixing the steps that have been misplaced back. We can make atonement for that, and we can correct certain things moving forward for the next generation.
For sure.
And we cannot, by any means,
say it. Say it with your
we
chest.
should not.
Sounds very prescriptive.
Listen, no, let me tell you something.
It better slap. It better be some real good,
bro. Strength of a woman.
Okay. I mean,
listen.
I mean, I can't say
Yo.
I bow down to that. I live by that.
Let us not
undermine.
Fool ourselves.
Yeah.
Women have a pivot. Like we accept that. The Marimbas podcast advocates for that. Like we cannot undermine that in any way. In any way. In any way. He that findeth a man finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord.
Amen.
Yeah, bro. And on that note, yeah, dude. Like I feel like this conversation can go on and on. But yeah, man, that's the Marimbas. I need a woman to sharpen my tongue.
Get it right, man. Get it right.
That's the Marimbas podcast for you.
Marimbas.
That's the Marimbas podcast for you.
What is it? Rhythmic,
collaborative, and raw.
Just how you like it.
Just how you like it.
Boom.
Is
that a wrap?
That's a wrap, man. That's a wrap.
You know what, man?
What's up?
Something started bubbling up in my throat as you spoke about
you choking, bro?
Like emotions, man. As you spoke about how, we've edified each other, we've sharpened each other. Like I didn't, like our interactions, I never think past what they are, but reflecting on it, man, I appreciate you, man. Like
my brother,
I appreciate you for real.
Bro.
And I'm glad that I can get to do this and have these conversations with you, and we can grow together.
Cheers, man.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
And on that note, sayonara.
Peace.